about that. Anyway, thank you everybody that's here tonight. I see Solicitor Ian Ellis has managed to join us. Anton Lee has managed to join us as well. Advocate Hendrik has joined us. Louis is here from the COGS. So Louis is our manager, the owner and manager of the COGS system, and helping us to get all the documents together and to keep records and help us with the record keeping. Yolanda is on admin. She's our legal admin person, manages that side of things, and does prescription problems and various other things, and is handling all the tickets that are raised on a daily basis. They're mostly on a daily basis. And then Nerissa is very much involved with the support side of things, helping people get their documents uploaded, getting their COG system sorted, and various other things. What I'm going to do is just give a brief overview of what has happened since we last met, and also to give you some explanations. I think one of the things that's been very important is the last time we met, we hadn't had any claims approved by the master of the court yet. And we were very much working with the liquidators to get the formats of what we need to do and how we are going to do that to get those claims submitted. In the meantime, Anton Lee was the guinea pig for that. And certain claims were then discussed with the liquidators, and they then, the first meeting of the master, which was on the 1st of April, was delayed because he wasn't available, unfortunately. But then on the 8th of April, Friday, this last Friday, just gone, certain claims were submitted to him, and they have been approved in as much as they are now on the record. Some of the claims were rejected. Those we need to look into and find out what the reasons were. Still working with the liquidators on that. So I think just to stand still there for a minute, I think it's really important and significant, the fact that we have managed, that we are at that point now where we have a position where claims can be submitted. I also want to say that it's been telling that everybody has supported us in the way they have, because we can obviously go with your authority, and we will not go without your authority, to help get these claims cleared and to discuss your claims with the liquidators as well. There are a lot of people who've got questions about that. I just want to say that we will try and deal with some of those later this evening. I think we should just start with the legal position where we are at the moment. I'm going to ask Advocate van Staten to address that for us, the significance of these claims that have been now approved by the master of the court. And then I'm going to ask Solicitor Ian Ellis and maybe also Advocate van Staten just to give us a little bit of background on what is coming up on the 29th of April. And we are going to need support for that. And we can discuss that as part of our issues tonight. But I think, first of all, let's celebrate. I think that's important, to put it that way. Advocate van Staten and Anton Lee, I think, are instrumental in the work that they have done for us on this. So, Advocate van Staten, would you like to unmute yourself and take that on, sir?
Good evening, Chris, and good evening, everyone. I can just confirm I'm audible.
Yeah, you are. We can hear you clearly.
Excellent. Well, the first thing is it's very important that the claims that were submitted has been approved by the master. There was also a circular issued by the liquidator stating that they are doubtful if the claims will be accepted by the master. But now that it has been confirmed by both the liquidators and masters that the claims that were submitted has been accepted, it means in principle the claim form that we've used is correct. It means in principle also that the power of attorney that has been given, of which I have received a lot of power of attorneys, are acceptable and it is correct. Also, it is a good indication that the way how we calculate the claims which people are entitled to are correct, meaning currently the formula stating that Bitcoin in minus Bitcoin withdrawn equals a Bitcoin value, which is then converted to Rand. So this is very positive. And since the first ones have been approved, it gives the liquidators then the opportunity to consolidate all the approved claims and start with provisional dividends, meaning that the people who already submitted their claims will most probably be entitled to receive a dividend from the liquidators pro rata, while they are still in the process to recover additional funds, additional to the more than 1 billion Rand that has already been recovered by the liquidators.
Okay,
but
so,
yet again, yes, Chris.
No. I think that we should just stand still there for 1 second and look at this, because the actual way that the claim is submitted. It is really important that we realize that we are dealing in Bitcoin, and that is now the way it was put on the original form as well. which means the number of Bitcoin you invested less the number of Bitcoin that you took out or didn't take out, okay, is then what your claim will be evaluated against. And obviously that will be at an evaluation value, but the important thing is to consolidate the number of Bitcoin that you are involved in. And that will then be subject to the liquidators calculations to then evaluate that in terms of the claim. That is exactly correct then.
That's 100% correct, Chris.
Okay, thank you.
Then also what is very important is that during the claim process, it became known to us, and especially people who gave me power of attorney and people who also registered with GetaQuid, that some of the transactions that was done by investors in which they claimed for during the process starting from the 9th of December was not reflecting on the back office and not reflecting in the claims that many of them received back or acknowledgement of claims. So that are also being addressed. And that's why it's very important to have a good team to look after your best interest and to make sure that if there's such glitches that do appear and which has the possibility to derail or make your claim much less, that there is people who's legally qualified, who's working together to ensure that your interests are put utmost, and then that one are able to engage with the liquidators to make sure that the correct claims are indeed reflected on the claims that I accept.
Yeah, I think just so that I had a question earlier today. Somebody phoned me from Australia and said, "What is this GetaQuid thing?" And I think it's really important for everybody to understand. We are simply an administrative process. We are an administrative process to assist the advocates and the solicitors and the liquidators as almost as a mediator to assist to get the things properly approved and to get the things through. It has been an eye-opening time period this last month and a half while we've been working with this, because there are certain misconceptions that have really been solved without all the social media platforms interfering and giving their own 2 bits. And I think that that's been really important. We've now got a direction, and this is really important. Advocate van Staden has cleared and our solicitors have cleared a clear direction as to how we can get this completed. And the thing that I want to highlight here, which is real, is if we only have the liquidators busy working on this, they get lost in their minutiae, and our rights as investors gets lost in the whole of this claim process. And that's why it's important for us to stand together so that we can have a representative team of people who are looking after the interests of the net equity losers. That's really, really important. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Advocate van Staden.
Yes, it's very important. As I've already stressed in previous YouTubes as well, it's very expensive to go and get an attorney or a solicitor on your own and to deal with the liquidators. That's why the function of GetaQuid is very essential and assist a lot of people to make sure that the claims are correct. You still have the right to approach the liquidators yourself, but then you don't have the necessary backing to make sure that everything is done correctly, and then you don't have the necessary backing to ensure that if there's something wrong with your claim, that it is taken up with the liquidators and ensured that it is corrected to your advantage.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. Okay, so I think the important thing is really just to have a look at what we are. The other thing too that I want to say to you, which everybody needs to realize, we registered GetaQuid as a non-profit organization, and the whole process is simple. All we are doing is simply doing the administration to get your claims cleared and to help the advocates and the solicitors and everybody so we can speak from one voice from an investor's point of view. I see a lot of people here is saying they're trying to help people out as well. I think that's really important. I think that what we will obviously put further procedures in place to help with those things as well. I don't know, Advocate van Staden, has anybody else got anything else they want to discuss about this at the moment? I had one question, Advocate van Staden, I think we should raise that. One of the people said to me, how is it possible that somebody can how can the claims be approved before the court case on the 29th, where the question of whether this is a Ponzi or not is going to come up? And I just want to put our position, and our position is we are opposing this because we believe that the liquidators have sufficient powers to follow through to go and get back as much of the Bitcoin as is necessary and don't need to take this to that type of step. The problem with that, and I could ask you just to elaborate a little bit about that, and then I think it's really, really important for everybody to understand We have to fight against this with every little bit of strength we've got. It's not in our interest as investors to have this happen, because in previous cases where this type of thing has happened, there's been unnecessary enrichment of the solicitors and liquidators involved in those cases. So we are opposing that on the grounds that, first of all, we don't believe we are criminals for participating in a commercial transaction, which was incorrectly dealt with by other people, by the leaders of that organization, not by us. And secondly, we don't want to be branded as supporting a criminal organization, because none of us, well, the majority of us, we're not doing it for that reason. And I think that that's the first thing. And the second thing there is as well, is we are opposing that in every sense as well, because we feel it's unnecessary powers that they will get, and it will be unnecessary costs that they can then put against these accounts, and it can get very drawn out if this is not settled in a really simple way. I don't know, Advocate Van Staden, have I made any errors in my judgment as far as that is concerned?
No, Chris, you've put it very clear. And it's very important that claims are submitted, even though it's not declared a Ponzi or the case have not been heard yet in the High Court, because it firstly gives a good indication of what is the amount of claims against the estate versus the assets that's in the estate. But also, it is your right as an investor and a potential creditor to make sure that you at least get back what you invested in MTI, because you cannot just say goodbye to a lot of funds that has been hard earned and just let it go and let it leave. So that's why it's important that claims be submitted so that the amounts can be tallied, and to make sure that your rights as a potential creditor can be protected at all costs. And Chris, you said everything very well. Thank you.
Okay. What I would like to also just mention here, ladies and gentlemen, I think one of the things that everybody is grappling with at the moment, and even the liquidators are grappling with this, is to really find out what the full extent of the claims are going to be. So one of the things that we will do in the next couple of days, before this video is posted, but we will send it out with this video, is we will set up just a refresh registration for everybody who has a claim to simply tell us what their Bitcoin assessment value is that they had in the MTI when it went into liquidation on the 20th. And I think Advocate Van Staden touched on a very important point, which we covered during this past period with Mr. Anton Lee. Anton was in exactly the same position that I was in, where we had actually, in and around about November, December of 2020, when things started going wrong, gone into our MTI account and tried to transfer out some or all of our Bitcoin. And what happened was the system registered that Bitcoin as having been transferred out. It actually said it had been authorized, but the actual Bitcoin was never transferred out. And that's where there are a lot of discrepancies, which we have had to sort out for people as well, So if anybody, and I think a lot of people are in the same position, we have now managed through the liquidators and their assistants, sitting with them, with Advocate Van Staden, to have sorted this out. So that is one of the things that we can help with as well. And I feel that's really important. Okay, so let us just dwell on that for 1 minute. The important thing is, at the moment, I'll reiterate this at the end as well. Right now, we are dealing with all the people who are members. Their work gets priority from our side. People are saying, how do I know if my claim is okay? When you've got all your stuff uploaded, you can simply submit a ticket and say, please check my documentation, and we can go through that. If there's anything special that's needed, they will get back to you. The other thing too is, if you have not managed to upload, or there's problems on your COG system, sometimes that's just settings problems on your home computers and things like that, then you can go to support@GetaQuid.com. If it's a COGS problem, you can go to info@cogs.systems. Okay, all right. I don't think we have anything else, Yolanda. Just quickly on those matters, is there anything else we need to discuss there?
I just have the same recurring questions. That is, let me just find that. People who have submitted their claims to Invest Trust or advocates at Proton Mail or Henny at Shelter Law, do I need to submit it again?
I think the answer is really simple. upload the documents if you've had documents, join the GetaQuid, upload your documents, we'll have a look at them, and then we'll tell you what you need to do to get that clarified and sorted out. If you've submitted anything to anybody who is anybody out there, then we will follow up with those people or put your documents in a position to be able to submit your claim. We are in the process of putting together a joint database with the liquidators so that we don't get duplication of claims. So that's also something we're working alongside with them at the moment. We said we will do that, and we are in the process of getting that completed. The database has already been written. We are just testing it at the moment, and then we will be sharing that database with the liquidators so that we don't get duplication of claims. If you have submitted, it's a good idea. We've also there is the opportunity on the COG system to say to us, look, you can write a note, say I submitted my documents here. These are the documents I've uploaded now. I've refreshed my power of attorney. That is the most important thing. Refresh your power of attorney. That's on the documents page on the GetaQuid website. If you don't have that, you can just ask us. We can give that to you. Just refresh it. It doesn't need to be notarized. It doesn't need to be anything. We just need an electronic copy with your signature coming from your through your membership that you've uploaded that refreshed document. Once we get to the stage where we need additional documents on your files, we'll be able to communicate with you and say if we do need anything else. So it's really simple. Join, upload your documents, send an inquiry through. We'll check your documents online and we'll get them sorted out and make sure you've got the correct documentation to be able to do the submission of the claims. Got a question here? Can I submit claims? Yes, you can, but get it done. Because we're in that stage now where we can get the claims authorized by, first of all, getting all the documentation together, putting it together in a format that the liquidators want, and then if there are queries around your account and your back end, we can try and resolve those for you as well. Okay, so that's all happening at this stage of the game. Okay, then
I have two more questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, the one is, and I'm pretty sure I have the answer to that. Does these documents need to be certified before we upload it?
At this stage of the game, just get your documents ready. Get somebody who you put your passport details and a witness. Get a witness to sign with their details on there at this stage. It doesn't need a certification right now. We will work around. We are trying to work around that where we don't have to do that, where we can just go with electronic verification. That is working at the moment and has worked in a lot of cases, but it doesn't mean we might not actually call for documents once the final claim payouts come. So we just hold that at the moment. Let's get it in the correct format, correctly prepared, and then we can say, right, that's ready to go. Now we still need this or we need that.
Okay, the other question is, we claim Bitcoin in and Bitcoin out. Does that include the commissions earned or exclude the earnings?
No commissions. What you physically put in Bitcoin and what you physically withdraw in Bitcoin. If the commissions you earned made it possible for you to withdraw more Bitcoin than the actual number of Bitcoin you put in, then you are a winner. And you need to make a declaration to us about that so we can approach the liquidators on how they want to deal with it. That's the way it will be dealt with. You have to be honest about it. Obviously, there are quite a few people who are saying, don't submit your claims, don't just submit your claims, because they have got alternative ideas about how to disenfranchise all the net losers. And the problem with the net winner is, I believe they did it honestly. I'm not saying they did it dishonestly. We were all misled. All of us were misled because as far as we were concerned, they were trading profits. And those trading profits created a situation where Bitcoin could be taken out by somebody who had got a lot of people under them. The best thing to do there is to say, look, I only put in 5 Bitcoin, but I took out 10 Bitcoin. And this is exactly what my account looks like. And this is what happened. And then that can be taken care of by the liquidators. Does that answer that question? Edwin van Staden, is there anything else on that? Or Ian Ellis, is there anything else we need to mention on that?
Well, Chris,
your sound, Advocate. I can hear you, but it's not great. Yeah.
Okay, there is ways to see what's happening in the back office, but as indicated by Yolanda, because there's a lot of questions regarding that, I understand GetaQuid is currently speaking to the liquidators as to obtain access to it, to just make it easier for everyone to get access to the back office and to confirm the claims when they complete the claim form.
Correct.
Because that's something that I see there's a lot of questions pertaining to that.
Yeah, we are setting up a process for that as well, so that we can help out where people have got doubts. Okay.
Hi, Chris. I'm also going to just make a point, just also in agreement with Hendrik, and just also to advise at the end of the day, if you have a claim, submit the claim in, because what it's also going to do is show who is actually owed money in the pot. And that's where the important thing is. We're in the discussions with the liquidators, we're trying to sort out, and that will also help us evaluate the formula, that it is a working formula, what has to be tweaked and what doesn't have to be tweaked, what are the outstanding issues. And the thing is, and that's where it's going to become a little bit more important when it comes with discussing the issue of the Ponzi scheme, because that's going to broaden the horizon quite a bit when it comes with alleviating people's fears of any risks that they have, of any further losses or any unnecessary or any, and also any duplication in the submission of claims and the worries that they may actually have of putting in further claims.
Okay, thank you, Ian. All right. Okay. I think what I'd like to do as well is just maybe we need to reiterate the position, why we are adverse. Just a very brief thing. This court case is coming up on the 29th of April. Am I correct? You can answer that just now, maybe Ian, and speak to this thing that we are absolutely doing everything we can that this not be declared a Ponzi scheme. And I also want to say to you, if the major mass of claims that we can submit and we can claim, we can put our foot on, or from net equity losers, and that is the greatest mass of claims, then that also helps support the fact that this not be declared a Ponzi scheme. Because at this stage of the game, I am not convinced that there is any reason why it should be declared, why we should support or support the declaration of this as an illegal business practice. It just opens up so many doors that we can't, that in the end threaten the value of what we are going to get out as investors. Maybe, Ian, you'd like to just speak to that a little bit, and maybe Advocate Hendrik van Staden can also speak to that.
Thanks, Chris. If I can go ahead and deal with this maybe first, mainly because we're about to head into load shedding. So the joys of South Africa. At this present moment, we are objecting to the unlawful business declaration for a variety of reasons. Number one, at the end of the day, if the company is declared to be an unlawful company, then it will have an impact on any investor. In the meantime, everybody's saying with creditors and separating net winners, net losers, that type of an issue. It kind of becomes academic at the end of the day. It mainly works out to your formula of whether or not you're still a creditor. There's a distinction between investor and a creditor. Creditor is a party that's going to be owed money. Investor is somebody who actually put in money, whether they made money at the end or whether they didn't make money at the end. But here comes the nuances of the issue. If it is declared an unlawful scheme, the amount of admin and potential costs that will go ahead and be racked up in trying to hunt the money down will basically eclipse most of the people's rights. At this present, most of people's equity. At this present moment, there's a set pot already in there of monies that have been obtained through the platforms. We want to make sure that is maximized and that the people actually get as much as possible. Where suddenly, when one is dealing with it being declared an unlawful scheme, there's going to be other issues that are going to come into effect. There's going to be fines, penalties, potential risks, and also at the end of the day, that might even open up the door. Even if the liquidator says, you know what, we are not going to go after having not to pay out people's money because they did so innocently. The minute you're in a Ponzi scheme, that can go ahead, that can change, because that might actually even take out their, if one could say, their discretion in it. So that is one of the major reasons people did not invest in this, looking at it as an unlawful business, looking to profit from an unlawful business. They did this genuinely. Secondly, it then starts becoming an issue of who's owed what and how are those monies in actual fact paid, because in your typical Ponzi scheme, you've got this pyramid type of idea where the bottom feeds the top, where in a situation like and then basically nobody gets money because it's all being eaten, and then the parties are reliant to collect monies not from the parties who may have eaten and benefited. That's not the case in this situation, because these were on trading platforms and it dealt with an issue like any type of commodity where it went up and down, and this is where the whole issue comes. So in order to at least go ahead and determine that's where the formula will also then be determined. It will be because at the end of the day, people put in at least that there is the Bitcoin that's recognized not as an unlawful proceed, but rather as a genuine investment, and at very least the people will be able to get back what they put in, should there be sufficient in the pot. And then afterwards, if there's any more money to be claimed and all the claims have been paid out, then at the end of the day, the liquidators will be in a position to perhaps see legitimately, without unnecessarily incurring costs, what will be the best path to collect money, instead of going down the huge litigious route and protracting the matter unnecessarily. If that will basically sum up. So in essence, it's to avoid also the unnecessary delays that might stem from it, as has been seen in previous cases where a Ponzi scheme has in actual fact been declared. So it's to try and, if one could say, if we get this knocked out now, people at least then start getting paid sooner, because then in that way there's not this issue hanging over, this proverbial sword of Damocles holding over people's heads of whether or not they may or may not get paid because of the adjudication of a Ponzi scheme. I hope that cleared up things.
Yeah, I think the other thing too, which is really important, is the moment this thing is declared an illegal business scheme, it opens up all sorts of doors for the regulators to step in and also to make claims. And
I actually said that.
Yeah, and I think that is extremely, extremely dangerous for us. That's why we have to fight this with everything we've got.
Well, not only is it dangerous, but it's actually but it can be actually very costly, because these are discretionary funds by the state for itself. So suddenly, if a state wants to declare a half a billion rand fine on profits or proceeds, that comes out of the pot. So that's where the problem in actual fact is. All your equity can be eaten up by 2 or 3 fines.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Yeah. Advocate van Staden, do you have anything you'd like to add to that, sir?
Chris, no, I'm satisfied and I totally agree with what Ian said.
Okay. All right. I think that's about it at this stage of the game. I don't know if we've got any other questions. Have we got any questions on that at all? Nerissa, Yolanda, anything else we need to discuss about that?
No, not really. I've had an interesting question though. A lady in Canada asked why. Let's see, I'm still asking my question. I'm from Canada and invested in the scam MTI. How does this claim apply to me? And obviously, I told her that because the claim was, or MTI was registered in South Africa, that is where it will be adjudicated. But there's investors from all over the world, and they have claims. So their claims will be dealt with. We will be able to assist them to get their claim submitted, and then it will be, well, the funds will be repaid into their account.
I think the simplicity of it is that if you're submitting this, say, from Canada or the USA or from the UK or from anywhere else, you invariably might end up with a solicitor in that country trying to represent you in South Africa, and that's not going to be a good position to be in. It's better to join a class action, like we are a class action. The GetaQuid class action is better to join us as a group, so that we can use people who know the legal systems in South Africa to reclaim your funds. I had another interesting question from somebody. They were very worried about submitting their bank accounts. So I said to them at the time that they must just open up a simple bank account, maybe a Monzo. In the UK, we can open up a Monzo account. It's just a cash card account, something like that, where you can to receive your funds into, and then you don't place your own funds at risk. But I mean, there are a lot of things we can do as a non-profit organization as well. We can open up a trust fund and put the money through the trust fund to the individuals. And there's also the potential to open up a fund as a Bitcoin fund. But we'd have to ask the actual GetaQuid board on how to deal with those sort of things once we've discussed that with the liquidator. So it opens up a lot of potential for people to have an independent organization to help them get these things resolved. I think that's about it. Is there anything else we have to cover this evening? I just want to go through the questions. Yolanda, Nerissa, is there anything we need to cover that you're aware of at this stage? I don't know if anybody else. I'll go around the board quickly. The actual how to register is, if anybody's got questions about that, it's on the GetaQuid website. You can just register there. You'll be taken through a process. The registration process will generate two or three potential platforms that you can use to talk to us. I just want to also warn people that at the moment we are not answering admin@getaquid.com because it's not members. We're trying to just deal with all the members at the moment. Have you any other questions, Yolanda? Have we done it?
Yes. I have people asking that how will they know that if the documents they've uploaded is correct or are correct?
Okay, I think once they've uploaded their documents, the best thing for them to do is submit a ticket to the ticketing system and say, okay, I've uploaded all my documents, can they be reviewed? And then we can review those documents. Okay. That's the best way to deal with that. Nerissa?
Sorry, I have another question that just came up.
Yeah.
If we've uploaded a claim to the MTI back office, is that enough?
The real thing is you want to, let me put it this way. We submit your claim or we support your claim. It depends on which way you want it to do. We've had situations where people have submitted their claim, okay, and then just need us to support their claim by representation. So you need membership for that. So by supporting your claim by representation, we can query whatever you've submitted to the MTI back office. Does that make sense? Hendrik, have you got something you wanted to add to that?
No, Chris, I'm happy currently, so there's nothing I can add. And
Okay.
I'm happy with what we've given through. And I'm sure that if there's anything else that pitches up, then we will address it at further meetings.
Okay, all right. Okay, Louis, you've been awfully quiet. Louis, have you got anything?
No, Chris, I've been answering a lot of questions down here. I can just say that we have experienced over the last week and a half, we've experienced two major problems. People couldn't see their private documents, the documents that they've uploaded. They couldn't view those documents from the mobile app. That situation has been fixed, I think, last night. And somebody just alerted us to the fact that some duplications are being made. But don't worry about that. We will delete the unnecessary documents, the duplicates from the back end. So people can now go to their mobile apps and view their documents. They must just, if they don't know how to do that. Maybe we must put here somewhere those 3 links for the videos that they can watch on how to access the documents. But that situation has been corrected now. Then there's the obvious things that people still can't claim their profiles. But tomorrow, I'm setting aside tomorrow. I'm going to spend a lot of time to try to get to all these people who are struggling to do that. Me and my team are going to really put in a big effort to try to answer everybody and get everybody who's still experiencing problems to answer them and get them going. So if you could please, if you're still experiencing problems, there's 2 email addresses, info@cox.systems, and the other one is my name, louis@cox.systems. So send a mail to either one of those emails, and we're really going to try to get between tomorrow and Thursday. We're going to try to work through everything and try to sort out all those queries.
Okay, thank you very much for all your hard work, Louis. Really appreciate it, my friend.
Okay.
I know you've gone through some trials and errors and problems with your APIs and things.
Yeah.
Because, but we realize that you worked the whole weekend as well that I know about. But thanks for that. That's really brilliant.
No problem. We must sort it out.
Okay. All right, guys. Unless, Yolanda, I'm just going to give you a last entry here. You and Nerissa, if you guys have got any questions or anything you think that we haven't addressed this evening.
No, I don't. I think everything has been addressed. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just going to go back through the agenda we put up tonight and just make sure we've covered everything. So we discussed the fact that the first set of claims have been approved by the master on Friday, 8th of April. We have rejuvenated the power of attorney, and the situation with the power of attorney at the moment is if you haven't got a power of attorney and you're one of our members, please use the new power of attorney or a power of attorney for us to administer your claims for you. And make sure that that is up to date. That is very important. And the key thing that we're going to ask people to do, we will send it out, and it's really important that you please respond to that, is just give us an idea of your email address and stuff and how much Bitcoin you had left in the system at the time of it closing down. That will go out in the next email as well, along with this video. And that will be Bitcoin in, less Bitcoin out, and then what your claim value is. And then the indemnity authorization, we are still waiting for that at this stage of the game to be finalized. That is going to become necessary. The indemnity authorization is going to become necessary with the child accounts, the parent and child accounts. But we will, as those come up, we will send that through because we have to put those accounts under one person to take responsibility. And if there are any people below that in the child accounts who are actually corpus mentis and of age, then they will have to sign indemnity forms, and we will need an indemnity form from the parent account as well. So that we're waiting for finalization on that, but that is in process at the moment with the liquidators. And then you've had a report back on our work with the liquidators, where we are at the moment. And then the pending court case of the 29th of April, we've discussed how that influences your claim. Just one last thing on that, guys, we are going to need your support for that. I'm serious. You need to get either send us some support for our advocates and our solicitors for that. We really need to make sure they've got the ability and financial ability to go to that court case on the 29th of April to prevent this being declared a Ponzi scheme. It is in everybody's interest. And for that reason, you should get yourself and your friends to sign up here as well. Please, the money is not being used for anything else than to help support this and to administer this whole process. That's where this money is going to, and we stand to account for that. No problem at all. Okay, I'm going to wrap that up then, if there's no other questions at this stage of the game. One last round. Anybody want to mention anything? Yolanda, you good? Okay, Nerissa? Okay, Louis?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Advocate van Staden, have you gone to bed yet, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for attending. Solicitor, Alistair, Ian Ellis, advocate, attorney Ian Ellis. Yeah.
All good. All good. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you for this evening. And thank you to all you people who attended this evening. Really appreciate the fact that you guys support us. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Bye.